Be honest with yourself for a second. How many times have you been with a woman you really wanted? You felt the chemistry, the tension, the closeness. But the moment came to take things to a deeper, more intimate level. You froze. You hesitated. You overthought. And just like that, you lost her. Now here's the painful truth most men in the US, UK, Canada, and Australia never realize. Women don't lose interest because you're not attractive enough. Not because you're not rich enough. Not because you're not good enough. They lose interest because you don't understand the psychology behind attraction and intimacy. And here's where it gets shocking. There's a hidden psychological trigger inside every woman's mind. A Stoic-based secret so powerful that when you activate it, she will naturally desire you. She will crave your presence, and she will start initiating intimacy without you ever feeling rejected or needy. But here's the warning. One wrong move, one wrong word, one wrong signal of weakness, and you'll kill the attraction instantly. This video isn't about cheap pickup lines or manipulative games. This is science. This is psychology. And once you learn this, you'll never see women, intimacy, or attraction the same way again. So take a deep breath. Stay locked in till the very end, because what you're about to discover will change everything. Chapter 1. The hidden psychology behind intimacy. Here's the truth no one talks about openly. Intimacy isn't just physical. It's deeply psychological. Most men in the US, UK, or Australia believe that if they just make a move at the right time, intimacy will happen naturally. But if you think like that, you're already making the same mistake thousands of men make every single day. Women are not moved by actions first. They're moved by emotions. The mind gets intimate long before the body does. Let me give you a story. Take Ethan, a 31-year-old marketing professional from New York. Ethan had been dating a beautiful woman named Sophie for 3 months. They went on romantic dinners, strolled through Central Park, laughed at each other's jokes, and Ethan felt like he was doing everything right. But one night when he tried to escalate things physically, Sophie pulled away. Ethan was confused. He thought, I've done everything perfectly. Why isn't she responding? The answer? Ethan was focused on the physical act, but Sophie's mind wasn't there yet. Here's what most men don't realize. For a woman, intimacy starts in the mind. It's about trust, safety, and connection. Without those, any attempt to ask for intimacy feels forced and instantly backfires. Why Stoicism changes everything. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Think about this for a second. You cannot control whether a woman says yes or no to intimacy. You cannot control her past, her boundaries, or her mood. But what you can control is your energy, your presence, and the psychological space you create. And this is where Stoicism comes in. When you approach intimacy with calmness, patience, and control over your emotions, you instantly stand out from 90% of men in English-speaking countries who rush, overthink, and end up looking desperate. The power of emotional influence. If you want intimacy to feel natural and mutual, you have to guide her emotions first. That doesn't mean manipulating her. It means creating a space where she feels safe with you, understood by you, connected to you. When a woman feels these three things, intimacy stops being something you ask for. It becomes something she naturally chooses to share. This is why rushing ruins everything. The moment a woman senses pressure, her defenses activate. She needs to feel like she's choosing you, not being convinced by you. The Stoic man understands this deeply. He doesn't chase. He doesn't force. He creates an atmosphere where desire grows organically. Chapter 2. Build emotional safety first. Here's the first psychological trick you must understand. Safety equals intimacy. A woman in the US, UK, or Canada will never open up, emotionally or physically, until she feels completely safe around you. And when I say safety, I don't just mean physical safety. I'm talking about emotional safety. Women are constantly reading subtle signals. They can sense within seconds whether they can trust you or not. If she feels judged, pressured, or misunderstood, intimacy dies instantly. How to build emotional safety. This is where most men fail. They try too hard, talk too much, or act too desperate, and all it does is push her away. To build emotional safety, you need to slow down and master these 4 subtle techniques. Speak with calm, steady confidence. Women notice when your voice is rushed, shaky, or needy. Slow, controlled speech shows self-mastery. Hold relaxed eye contact. Don't stare like you're interrogating her. Instead, hold gentle, calm eye contact that communicates presence without pressure. Mirror her energy. If she's being playful, you can be playful. If she's serious, stay serious. Matching her pace makes her feel understood. Listen more than you speak. Women feel safest around men who hear them without judgment. If she feels you understand her world, she'll naturally open up. Ryan from London. I once coached Ryan, a 27-year-old banker from London. Ryan thought he was doing everything right, buying expensive gifts, complimenting women constantly, trying to prove his value. But here's what happened instead. The women felt pressured, not safe. Once Ryan changed his approach, speaking calmly, being present, and genuinely listening, and everything shifted. The women he dated started initiating intimacy instead of resisting it. Because here's the truth. When a woman feels safe, desired, and free from pressure, intimacy flows naturally. The Stoic advantage. A Stoic man knows this. You don't need to convince her of anything. You don't ask for intimacy directly. You create an emotional space where intimacy becomes the obvious next step. By focusing on emotional safety first, you bypass resistance completely. And that's the difference between men who struggle and men who succeed effortlessly. Chapter 3. Timing is everything. Here's the biggest mistake men make when it comes to intimacy. They rush it. Most men in the US, UK, and Canada believe that if there's chemistry, intimacy should happen quickly, on the first or second date. But the reality is completely different. For most women, timing is everything. And if you get the timing wrong, you risk breaking the emotional connection before it even has a chance to grow. Let me tell you a story. Take Daniel, a 29-year-old software engineer from San Francisco. Daniel met Emily through a friend, and from the very first moment, the chemistry was undeniable. They laughed effortlessly, shared personal stories, and even stayed up late talking about their dreams and fears. After only their second date, Daniel thought, "She likes me. I should make a move now." But here's where he went wrong. Daniel didn't read Emily's emotional pace. While he felt ready, Emily was still building trust. So when he tried to escalate things too quickly, she pulled back, and their connection slowly faded. Why? Because Daniel focused on his timing, not hers. Women move emotionally before physically. For most women in Western countries, intimacy is less about physical attraction and more about emotional readiness. She needs time to process her feelings, trust her instincts, and feel safe with you. This is where patience becomes power. A Stoic man understands this deeply. He knows that real connection cannot be rushed. He remains calm, grounded, and intentional, allowing her to naturally arrive at that emotional space without pressure. Marcus Aurelius said, "No man can lose either the past or the future. For what he has not, he cannot be deprived of." In other words, if intimacy is meant to happen, it will, when the moment is right. The psychological trick. Matching her emotional tempo. Here's the secret. You don't need to convince her. You don't need to ask prematurely. Instead, mirror her pace. Watch her subtle signals. Does she lean in when you talk? Does she hold eye contact longer than usual? Does she initiate small touches? These cues tell you she's emotionally ready. By matching her energy, you create synchronization. And synchronization builds trust. And when there's trust, intimacy flows naturally without forcing anything. I once coached Luke, a 32-year-old consultant from Manchester, UK. He used to complain, "I don't get it. Every time I ask for intimacy, women pull away." I asked him about his timing, and instantly, the problem became clear. Luke was rushing. Once he shifted his approach, slowing down, reading her signals, and moving at her emotional speed, everything changed. Within a few weeks, women started initiating intimacy without him even asking. The truth is simple. When you respect her emotional timing, she respects your masculine frame. Chapter 4. Confidence without pressure. If there's one thing women in the US, UK, and Australia notice instantly, it's your confidence. But here's the thing most men get wrong. Confidence is not force. A lot of guys think they need to act bold, push forward, and take control to make things happen. But if your confidence feels like pressure, it backfires instantly. The Stoic principle, calm is magnetic. A true Stoic man doesn't try to impress. He doesn't seek approval. He doesn't beg for intimacy. Instead, he radiates calm confidence. Women can sense within seconds if you're needy or centered. Neediness feels heavy, desperate, and suffocating. Calm confidence, on the other hand, feels safe and inviting. How to show confidence without pushing. Here are 3 psychological tricks to master. Control your energy. When you're calm, she feels calm. Your energy sets the emotional tone of every interaction. Detach from the outcome. Stop obsessing over what happens next. When you act like intimacy is not your main goal, she feels free and freedom creates attraction. Lead without demanding. Women are naturally drawn to leaders, but leadership doesn't mean controlling her. It means guiding the moment with presence, not pressure. Noah from Los Angeles. Noah, a 28-year-old fitness trainer from Los Angeles, struggled for years with rejection. He'd always try too hard, planning elaborate dates, sending long texts, and constantly seeking reassurance. But when Noah shifted to a Stoic mindset, everything changed. Instead of trying to make things happen, he allowed them to happen. He spoke less. He listened more. He stayed grounded and composed no matter what. Within weeks, women began chasing him instead of avoiding him. Why? Because confidence without pressure feels magnetic. If you want to ask for intimacy effectively, stop thinking about the perfect line or the perfect moment. Instead, master these 2 things. Read her emotional timing, radiate calm confidence. When you combine those, intimacy becomes the natural next step, and you'll never have to ask for it directly. Chapter 5. Building emotional safety before intimacy. Here's a harsh truth, bro. If a woman doesn't feel safe with you emotionally, she will never open up physically. It doesn't matter how attractive you are, how much money you make, or even how amazing your chemistry feels. Without emotional safety, intimacy stalls. And this is where most men from the US, UK, and Canada get it completely wrong. They believe physical attraction is enough to make intimacy happen, but in reality, physical attraction only opens the door. Emotional security invites her in. Let me explain this with a powerful story. The story of Ethan and Chloe. Ethan, a 31-year-old financial analyst from London, met Chloe at a mutual friend's birthday party. Chloe was stunning, smart, independent, and funny. Ethan instantly felt drawn to her and, to his surprise, she seemed equally interested. On their second date, Ethan felt the connection growing stronger, so he decided to make his move. But Chloe pulled back. Her body language shifted, and Ethan could feel the sudden change in energy. He was confused. "I thought we were vibing," he told me later. The problem wasn't Ethan's attraction, looks, or personality. The problem was emotional safety. While Ethan felt connected, Chloe didn't yet feel she could fully trust him. Without trust, women instinctively protect themselves, even when they genuinely like you. This isn't about manipulation or playing games. It's about understanding how the female psychology works, why emotional safety matters so much. For women, intimacy is more than just a physical act. It's an emotional experience. Her brain processes intimacy differently than yours. Research in behavioral psychology shows that for most women in Western countries, oxytocin, the bonding hormone, spikes when she feels emotionally safe, not when she's simply attracted. Emotional trust activates the part of her brain responsible for relaxation and connection. Without emotional safety, her nervous system interprets intimacy as a threat, not a reward. This explains why women often hesitate, even when they're genuinely interested in you. They aren't rejecting you, they're protecting themselves. The Stoic mindset, creating space, not pressure. A Stoic man understands this deeply. Instead of pushing for intimacy, he creates space for it to happen naturally. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Apply this to relationships. If the moment doesn't feel right, don't force it. If her energy doesn't signal openness, don't push forward. Instead, your goal is to make her feel safe in your presence, not through fancy words or over-the-top gestures, but through your energy and behavior. How to build emotional safety, step by step. Here are 3 psychological strategies you must master if you want to make her feel safe and connected before intimacy. 1. Be consistent in your actions. In the US, UK, and Canada, women constantly deal with men who send mixed signals. One moment a guy is warm and attentive, and the next he's distant and unavailable. Inconsistency triggers doubt, and doubt destroys safety. You need to be stable and predictable. When she sees that your actions match your words, her subconscious relaxes. She begins to trust you because she knows what to expect. If you say you'll call her at 7 p.m., call her at 7 p.m. If you make plans, stick to them. If you set boundaries, follow through calmly and respectfully. Consistency isn't about being boring. It's about building reliability. And reliability builds safety. 2. Listen without judgment. Bro, this is huge. Most men fail here. When a woman opens up about her fears, insecurities, or past experiences, your response determines whether she trusts you or not. If you dismiss her feelings, tease her, or act impatient, she instantly shuts down emotionally. Instead, practice active listening. Maintain steady eye contact. Nod and acknowledge what she says. Validate her feelings even if you don't fully agree. Example: if she says, "I've had bad experiences with men who rushed intimacy," don't respond with, "I'm not like them, trust me." Instead say, "I understand why you'd feel that way. Let's take things at your pace." That one line communicates respect, patience, and emotional maturity. 3. Avoid creating unnecessary pressure. Here's the trap most men fall into. They want intimacy so badly that they unintentionally pressure her. Pressure doesn't always look obvious. It can be subtle. Asking repeatedly if she's ready, complimenting her appearance excessively, overanalyzing every little interaction. All of this sends her nervous system into defense mode. Instead, flip the script. Remove the expectation entirely. Focus on enjoying the connection rather than forcing the outcome. Ironically, the moment you stop needing intimacy is often the moment she begins to initiate it. Matthew from New York. Matthew, a 34-year-old architect from New York City, came to me frustrated. Every time I ask for intimacy, women hesitate or ghost me. What am I doing wrong? After reviewing his dates, the issue became clear. Matthew moved too fast, ignored emotional signals, and unintentionally created pressure. I guided him to shift into a Stoic approach. Speak less, listen more. Match her emotional speed. Stop chasing intimacy. Create space for it instead. Within weeks, Matthew noticed a complete reversal. Women began feeling relaxed around him. Conversations flowed naturally, and intimacy happened organically, without him ever asking directly. The psychology behind her decision. Bro, here's something powerful to understand. A woman's decision to be intimate is not logical, it's emotional. If she feels safe, she naturally wants to connect deeper. If she feels pressured, her brain activates fight or flight and she pulls away even if she likes you. That's why building emotional safety isn't just important, it's everything. Remember, intimacy isn't about forcing anything. It's about creating a space where desire grows naturally. Stay calm, stay grounded, stay stoic. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.